Photos with disturbing backstories by Don't Look at Me. Don't Look at Me is another amazing YouTube channel. Also, trigger warning. This could get crazy. Also, YouTube Frogs, if you want to watch this video with all my reaction / commentary, first link in the description. Thanks for being here. Yes, dude. I gotta watch more Mr. Ballin on stream. I love that dude. I love that dude.
Living in Monument, Colorado was a 13-year-old boy named Dylan Redwine who lived with his mother Elaine and brother Corey. Dylan was one of the many unfortunate children who had to experience his parents separating at a young age. He regularly went on court-ordered visits with his father, Mark Redwine, who resided in the rugged and mountainous landscape of La Plata County, nestled in the southwestern area of Colorado. And you may assume that a son would rejoice whenever he gets the chance to spend more time with a parent that he isn't always with. However, this was not the case with Dylan. Dylan found little to no joy in spending time with his father and had intentionally avoided these encounters for several months. The root cause of this can be traced back to a distressing incident that occurred at his father's house the previous year. In the summer of 2011, specifically in June, Dylan, accompanied by his older brother Corey, visited his father's home. While the brothers were using their father's laptop, they inadvertently stumbled upon some very disturbing images. At the time, Mark was asleep, so the brothers took the laptop and ran to the bathroom and locked themselves in. Displayed on the screen were images of their father Mark clad in a wig and woman's lingerie, cradling what seemed to be a soiled diaper. The brothers went through all of the images, and that's when they realized something. Their father appeared to be consuming the contents of the diaper. Corey brought out his phone and took pictures of these unsettling images, marking a turning point in how Dylan perceived his father. So over the following year, Dylan distanced himself, becoming more withdrawn and fighting with the decision to confront his father about this discovery. On November 19th, 2012, a court mandate made Dylan visit his father for Thanksgiving. Dylan's mother Elaine didn't really want to send him off though, since she recognized he changed in his behavior. He was showing obvious signs of distress and discomfort. For what reason though, she had no idea. In the end, Dylan agreed, but before he went off, he went to his brother Corey and gave him a request. Dylan asked him to send over those images that they took from their father's laptop. Dylan was mustering up the courage and confidence to ask his father about these images and hopefully share the information with his brother Corey when he got back. However, Corey would never get to see his brother ever again. On November 18th, 2012, Mark Redwine picked up his son from the airport. Surveillance footage at both the airport and a local Walmart in Durango showed little interaction between the father and son. Apparently, Dylan asked his father if he could spend the night with a friend upon arrival, but Mark insisted otherwise and they both spent the evening at Mark's residence. Through text messages, Dylan organized a visit to his friend's house at around 6:30 a.m. the following morning, with his last known communication on his phone occurring at 9:37 p.m. the previous night. When Dylan's friend texted him at around 6:46 a.m. on November 19th, asking about where he was, there was no response. On the night of November 19th, 2012, Mark reported that his 13-year-old son, Dylan, was missing. News of Dylan's disappearance spread fast, leading to a large search and rescue operation. After Dylan went missing, his dad acted in a way that seemed strange for a parent whose child is lost. Mark stayed home and he didn't even try to find Dylan. When media went to interview him, he seemed rather withdrawn. Months were invested into the search effort, but due to the rough terrain and high elevation of Durango, little success was made. Despite numerous efforts to locate him, Dylan remained missing and no new information came in about his whereabouts. On January 31st, 2013, Mark participated in an exclusive interview, blaming himself for his son's disappearance. According to Mark, Dylan was asleep when he woke up that morning, and upon returning from running some errands, he discovered that his son was missing. Now, the public initially sympathized with the father, not knowing any better, but the public will soon learn how undeserving Mark was of this sympathy. On June 26, 2013, the case would make new headlines, but not for the reasons people were hoping for. Human remains, including a segment of Dylan's shirt and a sock, were unearthed in a secluded location on Middle Mountain, roughly 8 miles from Mark's home. Following some testing, it was determined that the recovered remains were indeed those of the missing Dylan Redwine. When the search parties were informed about the location in which Dylan was found, they were taken aback as that particular area was very difficult to get to. It was tough to believe that a child who was unfamiliar with the area was able to find their way to it. This prompted the suspicion that foul play was involved. Mark Redwine subsequently became a person of interest, and the cause of his son's death was officially labeled as undetermined. Investigators uncovered traces of Dylan's blood in various parts of Mark's home, including the laundry room, living room, and kitchen. However, Mark vehemently denied any connection to his son's death. Only on November 1st, 2015, a full 2 years later, was Dylan's skull located. Autopsy findings indicated that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Nearly 2 years following the grim discovery, on July 22nd, 2017, Mark was apprehended in Bellingham, Washington.
Ooh.
He faced charges of second-degree murder and child abuse related to Dylan's death. Following multiple delays, Mark's trial commenced on June 14, 2021. The defense argued that the minimal amount of blood discovered in Mark's kitchen was infinitesimally small and could have occurred in any household. Defense attorney John Moran went further, asserting that using dog-sniffing death scent techniques was deemed quote-unquote junk science. Despite the defense's effort to explain Dylan's death as an accident, proposing that he might have wandered off and met his end due to the elements or an animal attack, Mark was declared guilty on all charges on July 16th. The unsettling photos presented to the jury played a crucial role in the verdict. It was ruled that Mark Redwine killed his son in a fit of rage after being shown the images. He was sentenced to 48 years in prison on October 8th, 2021. Dylan's mother and brother were devastated, and Corey said the following: "It's been nothing short of misery over the years." Corey also often thinks about how he could have helped protect Dylan. He said, "I can't bring Dylan back. I can't talk to Dylan, so I pray to him. I dream of him. Dylan is my hero and became more of a man in 13 years than Mark became in 60.
Holy shit. Yo, that's a gangsta. That's a gangsta thing to say, bro. Yo, shout out to that brother, bro. That's gotta be painful. That's gotta be painful knowing that he might have been able to do something, you know, but like, how is he supposed to know, you know? Fuck the courts, bro. When a kid says they don't want to go, yes, I was gonna say that. When a kid says they don't want to go somewhere they shouldn't have to, that kid was scared of his dad and was constantly trying to be away from him. That's why he would always ask to hang out with friends and stay at their houses when he'd have to go to his dad's house. Yeah, bro. Oh my God. It's so fucked. And I understand that one parent can manipulate the child, but like, if like there seems to be no tampering with it, and that child straight up is like, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to be there. I don't like whatever it is. They shouldn't have to. Like, it's not right. It's completely fucked. I had someone in my own life that luckily didn't have anything like bad happen to them, but they definitely could. Like, there was a lot of shit that could have gone wrong with being forced to go to their other parents' house or their other parents' house. It's just a shame. Wimble, thank you for the raid, homie. Thank you, bro. Chat, yo, if you guys don't already follow my boy Wimble, please do. Please do. Wimble, how was your stream, bro? Also, welcome in, Raiders. Thank you all for being here. We're watching photos with disturbing backstories.
Approximately 9:30 p.m. on June 3rd, 1991, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a trucker named Eduardo Collin decided to call it a night and
wait, when? Okay, let me go back. Sorry, I missed the intro.
At approximately 9:30 p.m. on June 3rd, 1991, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a trucker named Eduardo Collin decided to call it a night and checked into a Super 8 motel. The motel staff observed that Eduardo appeared to be alone, yet he requested a room suitable for 2 people. Eduardo paid in cash for a one-night stay and was instructed to check out by 11 a.m. the following morning. He nodded, smiled, and proceeded toward his room. Throughout his stay, there was no communication from Eduardo. However, a few days later, motel staff noticed that Eduardo hadn't checked out. Finding this unusual, they sent a security guard to investigate why Eduardo hadn't left. Upon reaching the room, the guard saw a "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door. He knocked but received no response. Attempting to turn the knob, he found out that the door was locked. After some effort using a screwdriver, the guard gained entry, but he realized the room was completely empty. On the table, there were bottles of beer, cigarettes, and several other items that didn't initially raise any concern. The guard continued his investigation and made his way into the bathroom. There, he made a grim discovery. Secure to the
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, it gets hard in the middle of the night, obviously, and early mornings to have viewers. Well, honestly, 1 to 3, pretty good, bro. Pretty good.
shower head
Nothing
was
to
the
scoff
lifeless
at.
body of a woman. Despite
What?
clear signs of decay, medical investigators were certain that this unidentified woman had passed away on the very same day Eduardo checked into the motel. Additionally, traces of illicit substances were found in her body, and the image you're seeing on screen right now is the photo that was found on the room desk. The unsettling nature is the one detail most often remembered about the case. The woman appeared to be in her mid-20s to early 30s and stood at about 5 foot 7 inches tall. When motel staff was shown the image, they didn't recognize the woman, although they confirmed that the man in the photo was indeed Eduardo. Despite obtaining Eduardo's personal information from the motel staff and confirming that it was legitimate for the most part, it would take a couple of years before police could locate him, or rather they would find his family. And it turned out that Eduardo had died, but here's the confusing part. Police pulled out that photograph from the motel and shared it with the family, but they stated that the man in the picture was not Eduardo. They also had no idea who the woman was. So if this man was not Eduardo, then who could it be? Investigators went back to look at all of the clues and evidence that they had, and there was one piece that may shed some light on the case.
Was there no security cameras in 1991?
On that motel room table, there was a scale with the name George Martinez written on it. Investigators believed that the device was used primarily to organize illegal substances. This gave rise to theories suggesting that the female may have been a victim in a deal gone wrong. In an attempt to gather new information from the public about either people in the photo, the original version was altered. In this updated photograph, which is oddly enough even more unsettling, the woman appears with a more neutral expression. Fast forward to March 2021, police received a tip that suggested that the woman was named Becca and that she was originally from California. And to my knowledge, this possible identity was
Can we get the photo off the screen, please?
never heavily looked into and was thus never confirmed. As for the man, police still have zero idea who he is and have yet to identify him. When Becca's body was discovered, it was believed that she had taken her own life. But there are now many people that suspect foul play was involved.
What? Oh.
Andrew
Hello,
McCauley
Andrew.
was an Australian mountaineer and sea kayaker born on August 7th, 1968.
I think I might know where this is going.
Was a very ambitious individual that strived for the toughest of goals set by himself. In fact, in 2003, Andrew made the first non-stop crossing of Bass Strait via kayak. The very next year, he kayaked across the Gulf of Carpentaria.
Oh, yeah, I think I might have heard of this story. What was the point in editing your photo? To make it look like more natural to if somebody just was acquaintances with her. You know, if her face was so altered, they wouldn't be able to tell. So it was make it look more like her in her natural state.
Years after that,
Did I say altered? I meant a different expression than what a normal person would have.
he led an expedition in the Australian Antarctic Territory where the group crossed over 800 kilometers. It was becoming clear that Andrew was much too skilled for his own good. He needed that next challenge to really test himself. He set the goal of crossing the Tasman Sea in a standard one-man kayak without any outside help. Now, it should be stated that this has been done before, but those adventurers all had custom kayaks that were built for extreme conditions. If successful, the journey was well over 900 miles and would take over a month to complete. Not only was the challenge going to be long, but it was also going to put his mentality to the test, as Andrew was going to have little to nothing to eat or drink. Andrew would
How would you piss and shit?
set off for his attempt in December of 2006, but quit only a night later. The reason being that the kayak was freezing cold and Andrew had no way of preserving any heat in his kayak. Luckily, Andrew was able to get home safely, But this small hiccup was not going to keep him away from the sea for very long, as he would return to it in January of the next year. This time around, Andrew was all ready to combat the extreme temperatures that he would face out at sea. Andrew would frequently contact his family via radio and let them know that he was doing great. He was about halfway done with the journey, and it seemed like smooth sailing from there on out. However, things would take a turn for the worse very quickly. As Andrew was nearing the end, violent waves began to crash into his kayak, suddenly making the latter half of the trip significantly more difficult. This was not to mention the other conditions which have also worsened. And keep in mind, Andrew wanted to beat this challenge with a normal run-of-the-mill kayak. It was February 9th when Andrew made an emergency call saying, "Do you copy? This is kayak 1. Do you copy? Over. I've got an emergency situation. I'm in a kayak about 30 kilometers from Milford Sound. I need a rescue. My kayak's sinking. Fell off into the sea and I'm going down." But rescue would not find Andrew until it was too late. In fact, they would never find Andrew at all, but what they did find was his kayak, bobbing in the sea about 30 nautical miles from the journey's endpoint. This discovery was made on February 12th. I want to quickly mention that Andrew's kayak came with this fiberglass dome cover that was supposed to provide shelter for him. Now, whenever his kayak would flip over due to the way the dome was constructed, Andrew needed to exit the kayak and flip it over manually. It's believed that Andrew somehow lost this dome, ultimately leading to his demise. Andrew's remains were never located, but on the kayak were these photos that he took of himself in his final moments.
Oh my god, bro, this one's wild. I wonder if that was like right as he had flipped it or was about to flip it, or like he knew it was going wrong. This one looks normal. He's looking a little deranged here. This is like full like, oh, I'm cooked.
Took of himself in his final moments.
That's rough. Wait, is this the last one? Okay, it is.
In Star City, West Virginia lived.
What? Yo, this looks nothing like a West Virginia town, okay? I need some better stock footage, buddy. Wait, imagine it's Charleston. No, I'm just an idiot. No, there's no way. Charleston is nowhere near that flat.
Skylar Neese, a 16-year-old girl with her parents David and Mary. During her childhood, Skylar had a best friend named Morgan Lawrence. In the earlier years of their...
Sorry, I was about to be a nerd and be like, wait, what city? Yo, what's up, Senpai Killer? It's going great, bro. We're doing some reacts to some scary videos right now. It's been pretty sick. How are you? What's new?
Their friendship, the two were inseparable, but just like with most friendships from such a young age, it dwindled as the two grew older. Nevertheless, Morgan still saw Skylar as someone in her circle, almost like a family member. Another close friend of Skylar's was named Sheila Eddy. Together, the two girls started high school and met another girl named Rachel Schoaf. This group of girls went on to grow very close and hung out with each other whenever they could. Teachers and classmates did mention that the group tended to be rather rambunctious, and there were even rumors that they would use illegal substances and partake in underage drinking at parties. Fast forward to July 6th, 2012, Skylar went to a local Wendy's where she worked. This particular shift took place well into the night, so she didn't return home until very late. But when she did, she immediately went to her room and went to sleep. The next day, Skylar's dad, David, knocked on Skylar's bedroom door but received no response. In fact, the door had been locked. David was able to eventually get past the door with the use of a coat hanger, but to his shock, Skylar was nowhere to be found. He immediately called his wife Mary to inform her that their daughter was missing, but Mary seemed to not think much of this and told David that she was probably hanging out with some friends. So David calmed down a little and went out for a smoke. That's when he noticed that Skylar's bedroom window was wide open, and outside of the house at the bottom of the window was a little stool. David thought to himself that Skylar had just snuck out in the middle of the night and was
The reason any of this happened is insane and there was no point.
Intending to use the stool to get back inside, so he just left it and went about his day. After about 6 hours, Skylar's family members were surprised to receive a call from Skylar.
This looks way more like West Virginia right here. Sorry.
After about 6 hours, Skylar's
So ADHD, yeah, I would believe that this is a West Virginia town if there was more hills and mountains here.
Family members were surprised to receive a call from Skylar's manager saying that she had not shown up for work. At this point, Skylar's family was beginning to panic. Never once had Skylar ever missed work or even arrived late, so they called the police.
Did she not have a cell phone? If my kid randomly disappeared, locked their door, disappeared, wasn't there, left, I would call them once, one time, give it an hour, call them again. If they aren't answering, I'm texting them. I know it's 2012, maybe you couldn't text them, right? I'm texting them and go, bro, if you don't tell me at least where you're at, well, first I would text them before any of the calls. If you don't tell me where you're at, I'm literally going to call the police. I'm going to call in. I'm going to call in and say that you're missing, and I'm going to have the whole police squad is going to fucking run up on your ass, okay? I ain't waiting till no manager fucking tells me, oh yeah, your daughter didn't show up. I mean, obviously they were just trying to be chill and calm down, teenage girl, whatever, teenager, whatever. But like, bro, I don't know. I'm too paranoid, dude. I couldn't do that shit.
When police searched Skylar's room, they noticed that most of her personal items had been left behind, indicating that she did intend to return. Around this time is when Skylar's friend Sheila called the family. She was crying non-stop, saying that Skylar, Rachel, and herself went out last night, and when they were going to return home, Skylar asked to be dropped off at a street corner instead of her house. Sheila claimed that this happened just before midnight and she has not heard from Skylar since, which at the time of the call would have meant about 18 hours had passed. So obviously, now everyone was beginning to think that Skylar had been kidnapped. Police were able to get their hands on some CCTV footage which shows Skylar running towards a 3-door car and getting into the back seat. This footage was captured right behind the house. Sheila said that the vehicle was not hers and that she did not recognize it. Unfortunately, police were not able to track down the vehicle, but they did assume that it belonged to someone that Skylar knew as she voluntarily entered it. To the police, this appeared as though Skylar was a runaway teen. Then on July 11th, there was news that somewhere in North...
It's cooked. It's cooked. She's cooked. At that point, it's like over, bro. If anybody there had ill intent, it's over. They don't care. Oh, it's a runaway teen. We don't care.
North Carolina was a girl who appeared to be Skylar, accompanied by...
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, bro. I hate the way that so many, points in our system just write people off because it fits into a stereotype. It's so not that simple. What do you think happened, Chris? I have no idea, but I think that the police stopped caring because they just thought that she was a runaway. That's what I think happened.
By a red-haired girl. Being that she was red-haired, everyone thought that this other girl was Rachel, which just confused more people as Rachel was supposed to be at a church camp. However, Rachel would return home from camp, and during her interview, investigators noticed that she was unnaturally nervous. It was during their questioning that they realized either Rachel or Sheila isn't telling the truth. You see, the police asked Sheila to take them through...
Wait, the police actually continue to investigate? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Whatever police station in West Virginia this was, that actually did what they were supposed to do, that I doubted you. I'm so sorry.
Through the path that they...
Wait, maybe I should wait till the end before I say that.
...took to return home that night. Then they did the same thing with Rachel, and they both gave different stories. It was noted that the girls were in Blacksville around 4 a.m., and Rachel claimed that they were there to smoke. Then, Skylar requested that she be dropped off at a friend's to get some other substances. The other girls said okay and dropped her off at Skylar's friend's house. Sheila revealed a similar story, but there was one key difference. Sheila said that Skylar left by herself to her friend's house and they haven't seen her since. The very next day, Sheila retracted the statement and said that she and Rachel did in fact drop Skylar off. The investigation continued and police were of the opinion that Sheila and Rachel definitely knew more than they were letting on. But it wasn't like police had any hard...
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. My bad, dude.
...evidence to charge them with. So, about 5 months after Skylar's disappearance...
It's just crazy that these girls are I don't know, the police can't, get more out of them. They're 16-year-olds. What?
...appearance, Rachel began showing signs of instability. Her mental health was rapidly declining, and she began lashing out at people for very stupid reasons. She was sent to a psychiatric unit and let out in less than a week. After being let out, she immediately ran to the police and said, "We stabbed her."
What?
Investigators asked her to elaborate, and Rachel said that she and Sheila filled up a car with cleaning supplies, shovels, and new clothing. The vehicle belonged to Sheila, and the two asked Skylar to come hang out, and they drove out to Greene County, Pennsylvania. There, the three girls roamed into the woods and jumped Skylar. Both Rachel and Sheila said that on the count of 3, they would stab her to death. They pulled out knives that they had hidden in their hoodies and easily overpowered Skylar. But Skylar was able to break Rachel's knife out of her grip and drive it into Rachel's ankle, which caused her to screech and run off. While Rachel retreated, Sheila remained and continued her attack, all while her friend screamed out, "Why?" When the two murderers were sure that Skylar was no longer alive, they tried to bury her, but later settled for leaving her under some leaves and scraps. Then the two just drove off and continued with their lives. So surely the two must have had a very good reason for doing something so rash and evil. When investigators asked Rachel why they did it, she simply said, "We just didn't like her anymore."
What?
Police were able to locate Skylar's remains on January 16th, 2013. But one strange thing about the case was, even though Sheila knew that her crimes were revealed, she attempted to avoid reality online. For example, she would upload a photo of the trio with the caption, "Rest easy, Skylar. You'll always be my best friend." Officials struggled at securing a true motive from the duo, but there were a couple of theories.
Oh, she's lying. There's a real reason?
One of which seemed to be that Skylar knew some secrets about Sheila and Rachel, and those two didn't want her to reveal them. Skylar's diary also hinted at this possibility. Sheila pled not guilty, but was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. Rachel pled guilty and received a reduced sentence of 30 years. Now, apparently, Rachel actually got married in prison in the women's only facility, and the reason I'm telling you this is because one of those secrets that Skylar possibly held was Rachel and Sheila's romantic relationship. Was speculated that the primary reason that Sheila and Rachel agreed to take their friend's life was because they believed they wouldn't be accepted if they were exposed. However, neither one has confirmed this.
Was that it, Chucky? Yeah. Killing someone over that is fucking insane. I wish Dylan told his mother about the pictures before trying to confront his father about them. He would have easily had justification for never wanting to be around his dad again, and the court might have taken that into consideration. So sad. Yeah. Dylan's case is funny in a weird way. Not his murder. The dad killed Dylan out of embarrassment because he didn't want anyone else seeing those photos, but killing his son resulted in those photos getting publicized and becoming accessible to everyone on Earth. Yep, they were in a secret relationship and Skylar knew. Damn. Dylan became more of a man in 13 years than Mark did in 60. Beautiful statement. I like how Corey called him by his name and not dad. He obviously doesn't deserve a title or honor. Yeah. It's crazy to me how a person can kill their own child just because they found out about a gross fetish they have. Yeah. Idiot killed his son to keep his pictures a secret, not knowing that a murdered/missing son would make obviously everything come out in the open to absolutely everyone. Did he think he would be able to just carry on with life like normal? Yup. Dad had a disgusting sexual fetish, felt the need to document it. Son was traumatized by discovery. Dad kills his own son. Appeared on television, nonchalantly acting like being concerned. There is just so much essentially wrong about what happened. Dude, listen, I'm pretty open to everybody's like whatever, sexual whatever, if they aren't hurting anyone. No, I will stand on if you're eating poop, you're a fucking psychopath. Becca picture seriously freaks me out. I don't scare easy, but that picture gives me chills. Yeah, it is pretty freaky. Oh yeah, Dylan's father is a monster. I feel so bad for Corey Redwine. To blame yourself for something that was not your fault, was no fault of your own. To lose a brother and feel like you should have or could have done something more, it's just devastating. He's in my prayers forever, that guy. I hope he gets the peace he deserves. I'm looking for more about the other stories because, like, obviously Dylan's is fucking heartbreaking, but that's a majority of these comments. That Becca picture has always creeped the shit out of me for some inexpressible reason. Skylar's story always makes me mad because they could have just ignored her and left her alone. It's so messed up. I feel so sad for the parents. Yeah. The image of the woman is fucking horrifying. I rarely feel uncomfortable looking at images, but this is a rare instance where it's just creepy. I went to school with Skylar, Shayla, and Rachel. Crazy part is I had a friend who was friends with Sheila, whatever. Sheila. And she told me days prior to killing Skylar, she was joking about killing her. It's crazy. I even walked past these two girls in the hallway. They always seemed like the preppy girls. I'll never forget that. That judge should have been held accountable for what happened to Dylan. If a child doesn't want to go, there's a reason. Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. In my opinion, if the child hits like, I don't know, like 12, 13, something like that, they should at any point be able to like go to a judge in some way. Like go to the judge who handled the case and be like, hey, I would like to go to blank parent now. Because they can, like, parents can manipulate them. But if they can, like, come to the decision whenever they want, wouldn't it be fun? Like, wouldn't that fix a lot of that? Other people who cover the case show more evidence of the relationship, and there's diary entries and text messages talking about the two girls making out in front of each other, in front of Skylar, I mean. It's weird how uncanny horror is scary than attempt. Wait. It's weird how uncanny horror is scarier than attempt at actual horror. Yeah. It's like, bro, Skylar loved these girls as sisters. It's not like she was going to tell people a secret that could ruin their lives. Yeah. Well, also, you know, there's some West Virginia ass shit that being gay would ruin your life. Like, god damn, God fucking forbid. The Becca case has me wrecked. Oh, the Becca case has always wrecked me. My depression has a habit of telling me that if I were gone, no one would miss me, which I know to be false. But knowing this was true in Becca's case breaks my heart. On a different note, I just want to say this is like a very rare case. I guarantee you that Becca did have someone, like, let's say it was a, like, you know, self exit. I guarantee you that Becca had at least someone in her life that she could have went to and been like, I'm thinking about doing this, and they would have been like, don't do it. I care about you. I love you. Something like that, you know? And it's very, very rare where there isn't that scenario. And most of the time, if you're an empathetic person, I would say, like, literally, I know it's an overused stat, but 99 times out of 100, if you're an empathetic person, this will never happen to you where you don't have anyone that cares about you and anyone that would miss you, you know? Or not miss you, you know? There is somebody that is going to miss you and care about you, even if it's like an acquaintance, you know? But I think most people either as a family member or a close friend that genuinely does care about them and love them and want them around. Again, if they are just like, I don't know, remotely empathetic in general and caring in general. On a different note, the risk and skill it would take to even attempt Andrew Clary's journey makes the fact that the island he was heading to was already populated by descendants of those who made the trip centuries ago with primitive technology a superhuman feat. True. I used to stay in motels a lot, but now with true crime being so accessible, you'd be surprised how many people are killed in hotel rooms, yet no one hears a thing. Those places now give me the creeps. Well, thank you. That's gonna be awesome whenever I have to stay one on tour. Even Batman cared if the Joker died. Yo, real? I had to do a case study on Skylar Niece's murder in college. It was haunting to read everything. I was the same age as Rachel and Sheila at the time when they murdered Skylar. I could not fathom how those two girls who were the same age in high school like me in 2012 could do something so terribly terrible. And to plan it, I could comprehend it better if it was a heat of the moment action, but these girls deliberately planned to get rid of Skylar. Secrets aside, it was not the correct choice. Could they not stop for 1 minute and realize that their solution to their problem would destroy so many lives? Senseless, yeah. Being honest, Dylan and Skylar were murdered for the most unreasonable things. Andrew took too much pride in himself, and Becca, we don't know what happened, but none of them deserve to die. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.